is able to hold the zone. Suter cuts to the middle for Minnesota. Drops to the trailing Zucker. On the backhand, they score! Eric Staal off the feet from Zucker.
Sealer able to filter it down for Eriksson. Shakes away from Miller and Sullivan score! Marcus Foligno set up by Joel Eriksson.
Staal to the outside. Ryan Suter has room. There's Zucker. There's a goal! Jason Zucker!
Donato into the corner. Suter centers for Parisi. He scores!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the WildTakes Podcast, episode number 3. I'm Zane, and as always, I'm here with Jake and Bubba. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing great.
Doing pretty good.
I'm doing great, especially since, Tuesday night, last night, when we're recording this, the Wild had a kind of a, I would say maybe a miracle comeback based on how they played this year. They were down 2-0 against the Anaheim Ducks, and they scored 4 unanswered goals to win the hockey game. I was pleasantly surprised, but I had a smile on my face today about that a little bit. Like I was happy.
I was absolutely shocked when they actually ended up winning that game, but we will get to that in a little bit. Yep. So first off, we want to say that this is sponsored by 10,000 Takes. The weather here is cold enough, so we don't need cold takes. And so we're going to start off this podcast today by talking about really briefly the month of October for the Minnesota Wild, a month where they ended with a record of 4 wins, 9 losses, which was absolutely horrible. It's the second worst October in franchise history, with the worst actually being their inaugural season. So this is pretty bad to say. What do you guys have to say about October?
Bubba, you want to take it? I know you have some thoughts.
Yeah, I'll take the first crack at it. Look, I said it from the beginning. This team's broken. I don't care about the win last night. Yeah, that's great and dandy and all, but that's going to happen in an 82-game season. I think there needs to. I hate saying this over and over again, but I think the coach needs to go. I'm sorry, everybody loves Bruce, but I think there needs to be a little fire somewhere. And with the new GM coming in, I think he's going to want to make his own mark on his team now. So, it's still a long season, but I wasn't thoroughly impressed.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you because there needs to be a change, because in the month of October, when the Wild actually played at home, they were a good team. They had 3 wins and 1 loss, right? So that's actually pretty good. But when they played on the road during the month of October, they only had 1 win and 8 losses. So what's going on there? Is that there has to be a coaching issue. There has to be a confidence issue. There has to be something going on. Bubba is right that firing the coach would probably be the quickest fix for that, like fire like on the team's ass. But what do you think's going on, Jake?
I mean, I 100%, I just disagree with firing the coach, and it's not to just spite what Bubba's saying.
Of course you do.
No, I'm just saying I don't think I don't think that would solve anything. And it's I mean, you look at we're 1-8 on the road in the month of October, like that was brutal. But I don't think that goes on Bruce Boudreau. I mean, there was just something about the way they played on the road. They weren't as energized, and but they play really well at home. I just don't think the fix on that is to just fire the coach. I don't think we're at a point in the year yet, even after the month of October, taking away how they played in these first 2 games of November. We'll talk about that in a moment. But just looking at October, I don't think you can pinpoint that as a coaching issue. I think it's really hard to determine and say and pinpoint what the issue is and what caused that, complete destruction or turmoil on the road. I think it's hard to really pin it on something. And I don't know if you can really blame that on Coach Boudreau, or if it's something going on in the locker room where the players aren't having enough confidence, or there's just not enough energy on the road. I mean, that can go back on the coach, but I think it's just hard to say right now it's Bruce Boudreau, let's get rid of him. I just think it's too early to say that.
Sure, I think that it is too early to go ahead and actually make the move to fire him. But this team like as we said earlier in past podcasts, this team is letting in goal after goal after goal in like a very short period of time. That's not what normal teams do. That's not what confident teams do, and that's not what well-coached teams do, right? And we usually just think of like the Patriots, right? I know this is football, or we're talking hockey, but we're talking football now. But if the Patriots get scored on, I guarantee you that the Patriots are going to come right back at you. And Minnesota Wild, they don't. They cower.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree for the most part, but I would say though that as badly as they played in October, I think near the end there was a little bit of an uptick. It wasn't a lot. Like if you had a graph and say I had a graph right here, it'd definitely be going down, but then you would see at the end of October a little bit of an uptick. We just yeah, right. Okay. Well, okay, that was dumb. Okay, that I'm not talking about Fleck here. Okay, but no, seriously, if you had a graph to look at the October, it would definitely be going down and really, but you'd have a little bit of an uptick at the end of October. They were letting in a lot of goals, but we saw a little bit of improvement at the end where they weren't letting in goals as crazy as much as they were at the beginning of October in like a span of like 2 or 3 minutes. It's like they improved on that a little bit, and we saw that going into November now a little bit in just 2 games. But it was bad in that October span where just to still start the season 1-8. At this point we're gonna be focusing at least for the next month or 2 or 3. If we want to get back into playoff contention, we got to literally scrape our way back. We can't be we can't be relaxing or anything like that if we would have won a few games on the road in October. So it was a brutal start. It kind of sets us back, and it makes us have to try to scrape our way back, the rest of the season.
I have something to mention on that real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
So if you don't make a change, like a trade or fire the coach, well, I said it in the first episode on my take. You got to get a captain in there that will energize the team. And I'm not saying give the seat to fucking Foligno. That's not what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying, though. Come on.
No, I'm not. Although he's been one of the stellar players of this year.
Yeah.
Maybe leadership with the players needs to change. Maybe not Boudreau. But you said it. I mean, they don't have any. They're lacking, what was it, motivation or leadership on the road? Well, figure it out. I mean, come on. I'm tired of fucking being negative. Just fucking figure it out.
True. I'm tired of being negative too, but Minnesota Wild fans have plenty of reasons to be negative. Okay, I mean, just let's go back to October 29th, just like a few games ago. I want to say 2 or 3 games ago, they played the Dallas Stars. I think they go 3-0. They allow a goal at the end of the second period to make it 3-1, and then they give up 5 third period goals to lose by a score of 6-3. And the Dallas Stars are, just like the Wild, one of the worst teams in the league. So that was just a few games ago. The Wild had a 3-goal lead and they couldn't finish it out. I mean, that's when I've given up hope on this team. Sure, they've gotten points in 2 games, but what, an overtime loss and then a regulation win finally? That's not going to impress me, especially when after October you were tied for last in the NHL in the standings, October was horrible, but, maybe we do have a little bit of momentum going now because, the last 2 games we've gotten some points here in November. So, Jake, you want to start talking about November?
Yeah, definitely. But I will say just to finish one thought on that October 29th game when they were up 3-0. I think we had gotten into that game winning our last 3 or 4 games. And I'm like, here we go. We're gonna start winning some games here. Here's our streak. I had that voice in the back of my head, and then we just had to blow it.
Oh, I killed it! I killed my sail. That's when I blow it.
And it was just so depressing. And then that's where I was just like,
typical Minnesota sports team, though, right? They just give you a little bit of hope, and then they take it all away for you just to be wallowing in depression.
I know. But going into November, though, like I said, at the end of October, there was that little bit of uptick. If you looked at a graph, and now it's going up a little bit more. So yes, when you look at just the first 2 games of November, it was disappointing that they lost in overtime on Saturday night to St. Louis, because they haven't been a good overtime team since they've moved to 3-on-3 overtime. But they still got a point. I'd take a point than not getting any points. They got a point, and then they had a huge comeback, come from behind, win last night, and they have a 10-day road trip on the West Coast. I think it's about 10 days, and so it's gonna be rough. And if they want to this could be a make or break trip for the season, essentially. You got to take advantage of this. And, Anaheim is a good hockey team. They're coming in, they were doing pretty well. And we beat them 4-2, even though being down 2-0. And you look at the next few games, you got the San Jose Sharks coming up on Thursday, the 7th, and they're not that good. I think they're 5-10-1. I think they have this same amount of points. They're tied with about the same amount of points as the Wild. Then again, we're playing in San Jose, but that's a winnable game. And then you go and play at Arizona, and Arizona is definitely a little tougher. You got Darcy Kemper down there, but I'm still not convinced Arizona is this great, grand, wonderful team. But you have a few winnable games coming up for you, and for the Wild. And that win last night and then getting a point on Saturday, they've started off November definitely a hell of a lot better than October. They're 1-0-1 right now to start the month, and they're seeming like in these last few games, even at the end of October, they didn't let in any, they didn't have any couple minute streaks where they let in 2 or 3 goals. So it's looking a little better, like they're figuring it out a little bit defensively. And it's guys like
I hate to cut you off. Sorry, I hate to cut you off there, but last night, who'd they beat again last night? Sorry.
The Ducks, Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, the Ducks, they scored like back-to-back goals in the second period, like in 30 seconds.
Yeah, they did do that.
I'm not impressed with the defense at all.
No, not here. Hold on, just really quick though. Let's talk schedule maker and who the fuck makes these schedules. Why are the Wild on the road 20 out of the first 30 of their games this year? That makes absolutely no sense. Especially since we started fucking October with a 1-8 record on the road. Yeah. So Bubba, what does this mean for us going forward? 20 out of 30 games.
You got to look at it the other way. They're going to have a long homestand too. I mean, I would rather start off the season away and then end the season. Look, I don't know how it is in the NHL. I don't know how they do it. In the NFL, they do. If you win the division, all that bullshit, you get a tougher schedule. Shit, I don't know. But I think the NHL, Gary Bettman is out to get the fucking Wild. I don't know. It's a hot take. Maybe Bettman wants to fucking move the Wild. In the closet kind of a theory. I don't know. But I look at it as they start out the season on the road, but they gotta, I'm sure that, it's the same amount of games on the road as at home. So I can't answer that 100%, to be honest with you, because I'm not quite sure, to be 100% honest with you.
Yeah. True. And I just, I want to be optimistic about this team. All of us here want to be optimistic about this team going forward. But even in our win last night, we're still giving up goals back to back. We're still doing little things like we're still not, doing the little things that you got to do to consistently play good hockey for 60 minutes. What else can we say at this point? It's up to the Wild to actually prove to us that it's not time to tank and it's time, there's actually hope to make the playoffs, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so there was definitely like still definitely down points in like that game last night, but you did seem like guys like, Zuccarello and guys starting to step up. Zuccarello's on a 3-game goal streak right now and had a big breakaway goal last night that tied up the game. And so they allow 2 quick goals, but they're finding little more ways to, get these guys involved and get some of these offensive guys like Fiala had a goal last night as well. And, getting these guys involved and creating opportunities is what we saw even in the St. Louis game. And now, if they can keep, take that momentum of the offensive play that we've seen in the last couple of games and put it into like tomorrow night, Thursday night against San Jose, see what happens, they need to get on a streak here, and I don't see them going on a streak anytime soon the way they're still playing, because I think that they'll have one good game, but then the next night they'll come out and completely lay an egg. But for them to build consistency, they really have to cut down, the giving up those goals, but then they got to keep that, they got to, like what we saw last night against Anaheim, they're moving around on the ice really, really fast. They're moving on the ice really well. They're getting consistency. They're creating chemistry. They got to keep doing that.
And they're moving their feet.
They're moving their feet. Yes, that's what they're doing against Anaheim after they give it the 2 goals. But it's like they're stiff-legged out there, and they got to keep doing that. And if they keep doing that, maybe they could string a cup together with some wins on the road. If they come away winning their next 2 or 3 games here on the road to finish off this road trip, come back home, they've been playing well at home this year, obviously. So I mean, you never know. I mean, but yeah, they need to get a streak going if they want to grind their way back. But it's gonna be really tough.
And take last night's game, too. That's a tale of two completely different teams, right? The first half of the game and the second half of the game. We need to see more of the team that showed up the second half of the game. Let's move on to stats. So right now, somewhere on your screen, you're going to be seeing the top 10 goal scorers for the Minnesota Wild through the first 15 games of the year. One thing that I really want everyone to pay attention to right now is the plus-minus column. You're going to see a bunch of minuses right there. I mean, it's all across the whole team. It looks Zach Parazy's a -12. Same with Matt Dumba. Eric Stahl's a -9. I mean, there's tons of negatives all over that board. Jake, what do you think's going on here?
I don't know. Just it comes down to just poor decision making on the ice. Like last week not when we played St. Louis here, but when we played St. Louis on the road, I think it was 1-1. It was a close score, and then Zucker didn't take his man on the ice, and it allowed him wide open, like something that as a veteran player you got to take him, and he was wide open for a backdoor shot. So I think it's just coming down to these guys are just, I don't know what they're doing, but it's just coming down to poor decision making. You look at them, they're slow. They're not making the right reads on the ice, and they're letting guys, get open in front of the net, and it's like they're not being aggressive out there, and it's resulting in goals, and it's putting this team back.
Bubba, we all love Marcus Foligno, you more than others, but he right now is currently 7th on the team in points. Do you think this is acceptable for the Minnesota Wild or not? What do you think?
I don't know. Foligno, he comes from a family who can put the puck in the net, yes. But I shouldn't expect Foligno to put the puck. He's a fourth line guy. Look, we need scoring from somebody, and if Foligno can do it, somebody needs to figure it out. And we talked about it earlier about Fenton signing Zuccarello to be your top. This team didn't address that at all. And going back to Dumba real quick, I'm very disappointed in how he's played this year. I thought he could be one of the top defensemen and offensive. He could have won the James Norris Trophy, I thought.
And he still can.
I don't think he can. I don't know if that injury, that pec that he got with that fucker up in Calgary, well, it was down here anyway. I think something's up with Dumba, but I'm going with the campaign. Foligno should get the fucking seed no matter what. So.
And Dumba was really hot to start the year. Like he had 3 points. Games or something like that. And now we're 15 games in. He's 9th in the team and 6 points. So something's got to change. When we're looking at goalies here, Stalock and Dubnyk Dubnyk's played 9 games and Stalock has played 8. But if you're just looking at the straight stats, which will be on your screen somewhere right here, it definitely looks like Stalock has been the better goalie. Jake, as a former goalie, when you're watching Dubnyk and you're watching Stalock, who's really looking better right now, regardless of the stats?
It's kind of like a toss-up because if you don't look at the stats, there are definitely times where Dubnyk, even this year, especially in his 2 wins, where going back to that 3-0 win too over Edmonton, Dubnyk definitely looks like the normal starting. He looks like he should be the starting goaltender over Stalock. He's bigger. He's covering more of the net, and he's covering the right angles. But then there's times where again he's just getting frustrated. It looks like, and he's letting in these really bad goals. And then Stalock looks a lot quicker. Like last night against Anaheim, Stalock looked like after giving up those 2 quick goals, he looked like a number 1 guy. He really did. He was making a lot of saves. He was aggressive, and but when you look at these 2 goalies, regardless of stats, it's so hard because both have done so well at times. Some have looked well, but then both have just had really bad play, bad stretches of play. But I think when you do look at the stats, so I think there is something big here, is that in 3 of our 5 wins, Stalock has been our goalie. And that's tough to look away from. And he has definitely, I think, been able to be more consistent this year, I should say. When he in terms of just being able to save the puck and keep his composure in the net. And I think he has definitely looked like the more consistent goalie. I think Dubnyk has had some better signs, like in his 2 wins where he's looked better than Stalock, but he unfortunately hasn't been able to keep that consistency. Stalock has kept more composure, I think, and has been more consistent this season so far.
That was a great stat to point out, too, the wins there. Stalock has started 6 games and has gotten 3 wins, where Dubnyk has started 9 games and has only gotten 2 wins.
Yeah.
So, with this information, do we currently have a goalie controversy here in Minnesota?
I think there is a little bit of one, and I've said it before. I don't think there was, because Dubnyk is the number 1 goalie in any lineup, I believe. I think he just. Let me finish.
Okay.
I think you need to go with Stalock, and I think you need to go back and forth and figure out who wants to be in the crease. Stalock scares me sometimes with some of the. He wants to be a fucking defenseman. I get it, and he took that dump. I mean, he had to cover up the puck away from the crease because it would have been a fucking goal anyway. But he took that dump. I think you just got to go with the hot hand, and quite frankly, I think it's Alexander Stalock from South St. Paul.
Sure. I mean, in my opinion, he has looked better. He has been more consistent. I do get scared, just like you said earlier, when he does go and play the puck. But I mean, he has made some highlight passes down the ice in the past. But sometimes you need a goalie to start the breakout, but at what cost? Am I right? We're going to move on to the final segment before we wrap up. This is a brand new segment we're going to be doing to end the rest of our podcast from here on out, called the WildTakes segment. We should get some intro or music for that in the future.
The WildTakes segment. Something.
There you go.
I'll get that ready for the next episode. Don't worry.
Thank you. So I'm going to start off by asking you boys some general questions, and then we'll play a game afterwards, and then we'll get into some hot takes. Fellas, okay? So the very first question, I think we're going to start with you. Is that all right, Jake?
Yeah, certainly.
Okay, what has to happen? What needs to go right for this team to make the playoffs?
Well, like I was mentioning before, for them to really scrape their way back in to get into that playoff contention, they need to go on not only one but multiple streaks throughout the year. We're not talking about a 10-game streak like they did a few years ago, but they got to go on a couple 4 or 5 game tears here to make the playoffs. And so they got to go on streaks here, because the way they started, they can't just win 1 or 2 games and then lose 2. They got to go on streaks. And for them to do that, they got to play consistent, like how they did against Anaheim. And I know they're going to play a hell of a lot better teams than Anaheim, but they got to take that and what that went well, what recipe or whatever was going on through their players' minds, they got to take that into more games. And they also, and I think we talked about this in the last podcast, is they're playing well at home, but they got to take what they're doing well at home and just literally take that same mindset on the road. And we saw that a little bit of what they could do, like in Anaheim. They got to win on the road, win more games on the road, and go on streaks here. That's throughout the season, like go on 4 or 5 or even 6 games, a few streaks throughout the year to really get their way back into the playoffs. Talk, I should say.
Yeah, exactly. Bubba brought up a good point earlier, saying that we're going to actually have a lot of home games for the rest of the year. I mean, after we get through these last few stretches here of long away stretches. So it's imperative for the Wild to win 80+% of those games. They actually are looking like they can do it with how they played at home, but who knows? They've been so inconsistent. They've been so all over the place. Bubba, I thought this next question right here is going to be tailor-made for you, so I'd like you to answer it. After last night's great comeback win, many players and coaches, including Bruce Boudreau, Kevin Fiala, and Alex Stalock, credited the comeback thanks to the team anger. They said that the team was just so angry, and that's why they were able to come back. So my question for you, Bubba, is where has this anger been the whole year?
It's been with Foligno the whole time.
That's a good question. I think they just got fucking tired of losing. I mean, once you get pushed down to the point, I mean, they have nothing to lose anymore. I mean, fuck. We need to bring old school fucking hockey back to St. Paul, Minnesota, okay? They need to start throwing fucking fists. They need to start fucking foiling up their fucking knuckles. If you don't know that reference, watch a fucking movie, would you? Look, I think because Jason Zucker called out everybody, what was it, a few weeks ago or something? I think there's some players that are just fucking tired of it. They don't give a fuck. Like Foligno, they just don't fucking care. They throw it like Joel Eriksson-Ek. I know it's some people say Joel. I mean, he blocked fucking what, 4 shots on. I mean, he was sacrificed. Some players on this team have heart, and some that I don't want to mention, I think, are fucking heartless and don't want to be in there. I'll just say it. I'll give you a little hint. Their home state, number 11. Get that fucking bum out of here. Yeah, I said it. What? So
wow. Why? What have you not liked from Zach so far?
He's a fucking pansy. Okay. Look, I love that he plays hard. Yes, but I think him and number 11 and number 20. Everybody's talked about the money. Everybody's talked about the contract. They need to start fucking playing like some top end fucking players that they were signed to be, and they're getting older. Nobody fucking wants them because of their contract. So they need to make the best out of the situation and fucking start playing hard. And I said it. I called them out. I don't give a fuck. So that's my answer.
Ooh.
Zach, you have officially been called out by Bubba. If you don't answer, there will be consequences. Jake, give me a grade for the head coach, Bruce Boudreau, after the first 15 games of the season.
You know, I'd probably give him a B-. I know that might be a little high. I mean, I think Bubba would disagree with me, but I think Boudreau is I give him that grade because, you know, we've seen some spurts of still good, you know, some good play out of this team, especially in the start off November. And he's handled the media really well, and he's handled questions really well. And, you know, he's just kept his composure really well, I think. So I think that it's hard to say when you can't see what's going on in the locker room. But I think he genuinely is doing as much as he can with the team he has. And I think from when you see in the post-game press conferences, I think he genuinely, you know, is showing that frustration like he should be. And I think he knows deep down like what he needs to do to try to fix this. But it's just, I think a lot of the things are out of his control. And I think for what he's had to deal with, I think to come out of, you know, October 5-9 is, you know, that's bad. But, you know, he's come out, you know, these last few games and has done okay. So we'll see how he does, you know, in the remainder of November. But I'll give him a B-.
What do you think, Bubba?
I'll give him a C. And that's being generous. I think he's lacking motivating the team. And I think, like I said earlier, something needs to happen. And if Bruce wants to stay here, I think yes, there's been a million coaches who've coached here in the last, not a million, but like 3 or 4, something like that. I'm tired of getting rid of coaches, starting over. Bruce just needs to take the bull by the fucking horns and fucking take over the locker room. I'm not saying he's lost it, but just fucking, you know, make players fucking skate them like fucking Yo did, right before he got fucking fired. Who cares? Fuck. These fucks get paid to fucking play hockey. It's a child's game, for Christ's sake. And they're fucking playing with no fucking heart. Give me a fucking break. C-. I'm changing it.
Thank you very much for reminding me of that Mike Yo freak out at practice. I totally forgot about that video. Like, now thinking about it, that was a great video.
Everybody get boards. Right now. Boards. 3 times we have guys going ready to go.
I got one last question. We'll all take an answer. I'll answer it first. Who has been the biggest disappointment to you this year and why? For me, it has been Ryan Donato. In 13 games, he's only gotten 2 assists. This is someone who, coming into the year, I had really high hopes, really high expectations for. I actually predicted him to be team MVP, and now he's making me look like a fool. So I'm just going to pretend like I didn't do that. So that's my biggest disappointment this year. Jake, what's yours?
I would say, I think Alex hit on this a little bit earlier, but I think it's Matt Dumba for me. I think I'm really, you know, disappointed to really see him, you know, especially in that plus minus, you know, he's minus 12 and you're a defender, man. That's gotta be positive, you know, I mean, or at least minimum, you know, minus 1 or 2 at this point in the year so you can recover from that. But it's like, geez, you only have 6 points, 1 goal. And you're minus 12, man. It's like, Dumba, you're a guy that, you know, could compete for, like, you know, become, you know, best defenseman in the NHL, and you're just doing nothing.
The James Norris
Trophy, thank you. And he has a hell of a shot, and he's not utilizing his full potential. And I think, and there's still a long season, so I'm hoping he does still come to fruition here. But so far this year, he's been, I think, the biggest disappointment.
What do you got, Bubs?
I'm a team player, and I'll call it the whole team. Okay, this team. I'll be specific. Okay, Dubnyk has fucked the bed so many times. I think he can be lazy at times. It's like he doesn't sometimes even want to be there, and the goals he gives up sometimes are just weak. And I don't know if it's his angles or he's just. I think it's like in football we say you're a one-read quarterback. Well, he might be, I'll say a one-read kind of fucking goalie. Look,
True. I mean, he's a stand-up goalie in like a butterfly era, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So exactly.
That's my disappointment.
Yeah, true. He has 9 starts, 2 wins for Evan Dubnyk on the year. That definitely has to change. We're going to go on to a brand new little game we're going to do here at the WildTakes Podcast. It is called Over Under. So how this is going to work is that I'm going to present a scenario, right? Like how many goals will Zach Parise score for the rest of the month? Then I'm going to have a number laid out. You're going to be able to see it on your screen. So I'll have a number laid out, like let's say 4, and we're all going to give our takes if we think it's going to be over or if it's going to be under. So if we choose under, it's going to be the stated number that you see or under. Or if we choose over, it's going to be over the number that you see. Okay, so do you guys get the game?
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. So the first thing we're going to do is goals for over and under. We're going to be keeping track of these, and at the end of the year, we're going to see who has the most points totaled. So every single one that we get right is going to be 1 point. Most points at the end wins. Okay, so goals. Zach, there's 11 games remaining for the month of November. So we're going to be doing all of this for the rest of November in the course of 11 games. Okay, so Zach Parise, the over/under for him is 4 goals. Is he going to go under that or over that? Jake, you want to go first?
I'm going to take the over on that. Actually, might be a hot take. Hey, I want to be the dark horse here. So if he does go over, I will get I'll beat both your asses. I'm assuming Alex is going to pick under.
Of course I am. Yes, absolutely. He doesn't want to be here. Enough said.
I disagree.
Under. I'm taking the under.
I'm taking the under as well. He has 4 goals in the first 15 of the year, so I don't see him getting over 4 goals. So I'm going to go with the under. The next player for that is going to be the next 11 games, Ryan Donato. The over/under for him is going to be 2. Bubba, you can go first this time.
I'll take the over. I think he's going to have a breakout game here pretty damn soon.
Ooh, what do you think, Jake?
I'm going to take the under on this. I definitely think he might have a good game here coming up, but I think it's going to be, he might have a couple assists or something like that, but I don't think he's going to get 2 goals in 11 games. I'm going to take the under.
He's a shoot first kind of player. Yeah, he's going to pass the puck and create a play.
He better. You need guys creating plays, Alex. Come on now.
I'm going to go with the under 2. He just hasn't impressed me so far. I haven't seen a goal-scoring touch from him. I mean, the first few games, he looked really good. He had some very nice moves, or like he at least it looked like he had like very good hands, right? He had a few breakaways where he just got like robbed and stuff like that, but I haven't seen anything. So I'm going with the under. The very last player we're going to do for goals is going to be Matt Dumba, and the over/under we're going to set for him is going to be 2 as well. Jake, who do you get?
I'm going to take the over. I think Dumba's going to get a couple, more than a couple goals here in the next 11 games. I think he's going to have a good game coming up here. It's just going to be a game where he just does really well and he just breaks out.
What do you got, Bubba?
I'll take the over.
And I will also take the over. I predict that he's going to be taken off the next few weeks. At least we all hope so. We had such high expectations coming into the season, so let's hope he can keep it. At least let's hope that he can kind of do what he did last year that we're all looking forward to, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the next category we're going to do for the over and under is going to be points. We're going to start off with Brad Hunt, 4 points, over or under for the rest of the month. I'll start off with this one, and I'm going to say he's going to go over. He's had such a great start to the year. He is on the first line power play every single time. The only time we seem to score besides our last game is on the power play. So I'm going to be going with over for that. Bubba, what do you got?
Look, he's a Bemidji State grad. I usually support my fellow Bemidjians, but I got to take the under. I think it was all luck for him. I'm taking the under.
Sounds good. What do you got, Jake?
Yeah, I'm going to take the under. I think it was kind of fluky in that first month. I mean, I hope I'm proven wrong because it would be great. If he is getting points, that means we're doing well, so I just don't see it. I think someone else is going to be getting it more of the points here in this month.
Sure, let's hope Forward steps up and starts putting up some points.
Yeah.
The next player we got here is someone who definitely could step up after their first 15 games season. That's Mikko Koivu. So I got 5 points for him over the next 11 games, over or under. What do you got, Bubs?
Under. I don't see it. I think he's washed up and he needs to go back to Finland.
What about you, Jake?
I'm just gonna play devil's advocate here. I'm gonna say over.
Okay.
I think Koivu. I think Koivu still has some. Bubba's just shaking his head. I think he still has a little bit left in the tank. I think he's going to create some plays here, and he'll get over 5 points. He'll mass over 5 points here in the next 11 games.
Sounds good. I'm going to go with the under, just like Bubba. He's washed up and should go back to Finland. I don't believe that, but I love that. I love that.
We're going to we should make a shirt. Just picture
just a graphic.
Washed up.
Washed up, go to Finland.
Yeah.
You're going to be called racist for that.
I know.
I'm white and kind of Scandinavian. Okay, I'm fine.
Okay. So as Bubba talked about earlier, Alex Stalock is one of those goalies who just likes to bomb it down the ice and create a play. So I decided to throw him in the point category for the rest of the month, over under at 0, right? So do you choose 0 points for Alex Stalock? Do you not think he's going to be able to get an assist in the next 11 games, or you're going to choose the under? Do you think he'll get at least 1? I'm going to go first with this, and I'm going to go with the over. I mean, he's an aggressive goalie. He gave a Wild player a breakaway a few games ago. So, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go the over. What do you got, Jake?
I might go with the over on this one. I definitely think he's so damn aggressive that I think he's got to get one play, at least one play where he gets an assist on it.
Bubba?
I'll take the under. I don't know if he'll get that many starts.
True. I think that's what would keep him for sure from actually getting it. Because if he did play those 11 games, I think he'd for sure get it. But the fact that he's a backup is kind of risky. Okay, we're going to go on to the last one. This is going to be a wins category. We're going to do how many wins you think Dubnyk is going to get in the next 11 games. The over-under is going to be set at 3 for this one. Bubba, do you want to go first?
Fuck. I'll take the under. I'm not impressed with him, so I'll take the under.
Jake?
If it's at 3, I think I'd take the over. I think he'll at least maybe get 4 wins. I mean, even if you look at our schedule, there should be some easy opponents coming up here that if he does get the start, he should get the damn win. I think he'll at least get 4.
Sure, sounds good. I'm going to go with the under because this team as a whole hasn't proved to me that they're capable of really winning games that often. I've given up on this team until they show me otherwise. So I'm just going to go with the under and anything when it comes for wins. So you know my answer to the next one already, which is how many wins do you think the Wild are going to get over the next 11 games? I set the over under at 4. So I mean I'm setting the bar low. Bubba, you want to go first?
I'd like to take the over, but I'm not convinced. I'm taking the under.
I'm taking the under too. Jake, what do you got?
I'll
I
take
bet
the
you
over.
$1 million he picks the over.
Oh, I'll take the over on it. I'm confident. I mean, we got San Jose on Thursday. Then we play the Kings on the road. I mean, it's on the road, and then we have a few home games. I think we'll get over 4 wins.
Sure, I'm glad we got a little bit of diversity in those picks there. So next podcast, you'll obviously know the results because we're going to be doing this every single one. We'll announce it before we start the next one, obviously. So we're going to end with one last hot take from everyone for the rest of the month. It's our hot takes of the month, right? So Jake, how about you go first, man?
Hot take of the month. Okay, well, I think this kind of goes into my, my last over-under of that they're going to get more than 4 wins. I think the Wild will win their next. I don't know how much of a hot take this is, but I think the Wild. What is it? I think they'll win their next 4 of 5 games right now. I think they'll win their next 4 or 5 games, which will put them at I think 9-10. It would put them at 9-10 and have about 19 points. I think. I think they'll win their next 4 or 5. I think they have a good shot they're playing San Jose and they're playing Los Angeles. They're playing Arizona twice. They're playing Carolina at home. I think they're going to win their next 4 or 5 games, and it's going to maybe be the start of something special. Maybe. I don't know, but I think they're going to win their next 4 or 5 games. We'll see.
True. I mean, I'm going to say that is actually a really big hot take, especially considering how they've looked recently. Winning 4 out of 5 would definitely be something for this team. And guess what? If we end up with, that 9-10-1 record or whatever that is, you definitely have a chance at the end of the season to make the playoffs. I mean, not a great one, but way better than how we're currently standing.
Yes, definitely.
Bubba, what's your hot take for the month?
Jason Zucker gets a hat trick in the next 11 games.
Ooh, damn. He's actually been playing really well this year. I mean, better than I thought he would. I only predicted him to get 40 points this year, and he's definitely on the pace to do better. Why do you think he's going to get a hat trick?
Because he's sexy and his beard is gorgeous.
And because his wife is giving him good vibes too, I'm sure.
Alex likes that one. He loves it.
I do?
Yeah, oh yeah.
My hot take, we're going to finish off at that, is that I think that Alex Stalock, I think that he's going to get more wins than Devin Dubnyk in the next 11 games. So there you go. I think that's what's going to happen. So that's been this episode of the WildTakes Podcast. We do this twice a month. We're going to see you at the end of the month. And thank you very much for watching, guys.
Thank you.
Adios.